And good morning to Coach Kerry Dell, live from Auckland, New Zealand. It's already like 3 p.m. 3 p.m. her time in New Zealand. Thank you very much, Coach, for giving us your time this afternoon. Okay, so without further ado, let's start Tribe with some few PowerPoints. Okay, so there are some people still that are coming in. So welcome, good morning, everyone, to our 5th week of the 5-week World Fit Reset program. Of course, together with me is Coach Santa and Coach Rodolfo, your Philippine certified WellFit coaches, and of course, the 9 international guest coaches. And our 9th featured coach would be Coach Kerry Dell for today, and she will talk about pathogens. So, looking at our progress, so we have completed all this. Can you believe it? So we just completed like corrective strength training, heart math breathing techniques, gentle yoga stretches, the power of conscious breathing, RTT, and then we also have the biohacking, deep sleep, heal trauma and release weight. And last Tuesday we had Coach Sarah with Bridging Your Soul's Vision Manifestation. And for today, so we have Coach Kerry Dell on pathogens, how they thrive in your bodies and how we can eliminate them. So it's an art session. And we have the schedule. Wow. So we have completed all. And today would be the last day of our 9 coaches session or training. And just a quick recap on our donation or gift drive for the kids of SOS Children's Villages. So I am very proud to announce that we have already, we have already raised 158,959 pesos. And in USD, that would be 3,148. So thank you very much, everyone, for all your donations. So you can still donate if you have some. So this is for early Christmas gift for the kids of SOS Children's Villages. Thank you very much. So that's already quite big for them as Christmas gift. And so thank you very much, everyone, especially to our 9 coaches who has helped us boost our donation or gift drive for the kids of SOS Children's Villages. And without further ado, let's all welcome everyone, our 9th featured coach, Coach Kerry Dell from New Zealand, and she's going to talk about pathogens, how they thrive in your bodies and how we can eliminate them. Coach Kerry is a natural health practitioner, international health coach, and 2019 World Fit Coach of the Year. And we have Coach Santa to continue.
Over 20 years ago, Kerry was told by 2 specialists that she wouldn't be able to conceive children naturally. This started her deep dive into finding natural solutions for herself, and she didn't stop until she found ways to heal her body. Kerry has 6 formal qualifications along with numerous certifications behind her name. She did indeed have her children naturally, who are now teenagers.
Okay, very cute. Very cute. 2-year-old, Doc Santa. Okay, so Coach Kerry has over 20 years of experience assisting people and companies to exceed their performance expectations, ensuring they are healthy and balanced mentally, emotionally, and physically. While in South Africa, she received numerous awards, was featured in magazines and newspapers, had a TV show, as well as has her own radio show. Now in Auckland, New Zealand, Coach Kerry sees clients in her clinic as a natural health practitioner, as well as coaches international clients all over the world. And in the last year, she has coached over 4,000 clients. In 2019, she won International World Fit Coach of the Year. And from the beginning of 2021, Coach Kerry now trains other health coaches and health practitioners on how to grow their businesses by getting better results for their clients. Coach Kerry's mission is to create jobs for health practitioners so more people can receive effective treatments. And let's all give Coach Kerry a big virtual round of applause, tribe. And let's all welcome Coach Kerry Dell. Over to you, Coach.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I can just imagine that this last 5 weeks has been so amazing. Has it just been such an incredible reset and just, reigniting so much more information that has been flowing your way? So I hope you've had a brilliant time. And I want to thank Glory Jane for reaching out and for doing the special drive for the SOS children. I am all for nonprofit organizations and specifically children. So anything to help. So well done for what you all have contributed. It's been magnificent. So yes, Glory Jane reached out to me to ask me to talk about probably my favorite subject, which is pathogens in the body. And it's really just because of my years of experience with the different equipment that I use within the clinic that I'm able to assess what happens internally. And, you know, we actually do find so many pathogens that are interfering with how our bodies are actually functioning. So bottom line, our bodies really do take strain. I'm going to share my screen. Glory Jane, I'm just, have you given me access to share my screen? Let me just.
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Right, let's do that. And let's put it on here. So, yeah, so gut health is my absolutely favorite topic of all time, as well as pathogens. So massive for me. As Glory Jane mentioned, I run a bio wellness academy. So we coach other health coaches and practitioners on how to activate frequencies within your body in order to achieve that supreme health. And that's why you guys are here. That's why you've done WildFit. That's why you signed up in the first place. There was something niggling inside you to go, I can do better than this. I want to feel better than this. And I want to absolutely make the most of my life. I really do. So WildFit for me is just a phenomenal solution. And I'm going to talk to you about how we fit that in with what happens internally. So this is a big thing that happens in most people that are walking around on earth today have got leaky gut syndrome and they don't even know it. They don't even know it. So what happens is you've seen, this is the lining of the gut. Now the lining of the gut is actually very thin, but very tough. It's really tough. Even though it's just a layer of cells, it's really difficult to break through that layer in the intestines, really difficult. However, because of our diets in the modern society today, we put things into our body that were not meant to go into our body. And so along with refined sugars and grains and dairy, which is incredibly acidic for our bodies, along with a lot of processed foods and chemicals and drugs and all of that type of thing that's going into our bodies that were not meant to go into these natural bodies. These bodies are natural, and yet we've been putting foreign particles in. What happens is that we have good bacteria and bad bacteria within our lining of our gut. When we put all the foreign stuff in, the bad bacteria grows and gets stronger and stronger. Parasites get stronger. Viruses get stronger in our body. Bad bacteria grows. Funguses, mold, we get heavy metals. All of these things interfere with the lining of our gut. So the lining of our gut now starts getting little holes in them. It gets porous. So this is what you're seeing when there's an over accumulation of pathogens in our system. Then all of a sudden they can sneak through these holes into our bloodstream. And when they go into our bloodstream, they now move all over our body. And so when they're in the bloodstream and they're moving all over our body, they will go to your weak points. So everybody is different. Everybody is absolutely different. Your journey up until now has been so different to the next person's journey. That's why, even though we all follow exactly the same enhancements every week on WildFit, we all listen to Eric and go, what's coming up on that Friday? And we implement it, and we follow the same instructions and the same suggestions and the same thing. We all have a different experience because internally there's different things going on in our body. Some of us have more bacteria. Some of us have more parasites. Others of us have worms. Others have viruses. Some have loads of heavy metals, and they come from different sources, and it depends on what you've been eating previously and how healthy you have been all the way up until now in your life. So pathogens that are accumulating in our system, those are the underlying issues of just about every single autoimmune disease on earth today is caused by underlying pathogens. So you go to your doctor and the doctor says, oh, you've got Hashimoto's thyroidism. And here's a tablet, and you've got to stay on that tablet for the rest of your life. We know underlying Hashimoto's is the Epstein-Barr virus. The Epstein-Barr virus also causes chronic fatigue. So if you are just taking a drug to help the thyroid and not taking anything to help get rid of the underlying pathogen, you are just allowing those symptoms to subside, but not actually dealing with the root cause. So we need to get to the root cause of what's interfering with our gut health and what are ways that we can absolutely heal that. So with a lot of these pathogens, what happens is we have our cells that move really, really quickly in our body. They move really quickly if they're healthy. If they're not healthy, they move very, very slowly. So if there's a lot of pathogens in our system, everything in our system is going to be slowed down. Our liver is going to be slower. Our pancreas is going to be slower. Our lungs even breathe slower. Everything in our body moves slower. So what I really specialize in, if we can remove these pathogens, we can increase those vibrations of our cells so that we actually now, our frequency of the cells are vibrating a lot more healthier so that we can get our energy back. We need this energy. We need the vibrancy in our lives. And the way to do that is to remove the pathogens and increase the frequency of the cells. So I just want to touch on things that are interfering with our cells' frequency. Obviously, all of these foods up here. Now, I'm hoping that all of you are looking at this picture and going, oh my goodness, that is terrible. That is terrible. When you look at this, I hope you feel ill. Because by this stage, it's like these foods should be, you know, I often tell my clients, when I look at these foods, this is dead food. This is dead food. It's not giving you any energy in the body. It's not creating any energy in your cells. It's actually making your cells die, and it's feeding the pathogens. So these type of foods feed this down here. So these are different types of pathogens that are in our systems, and they get fed by the processed foods, the refined sugars, all of that. We also have, unfortunately, chemical drugs. This is a picture of chemotherapy. When people have chemotherapy, it not only kills off the cancer cells, but it kills off everything else in the body, which is why it's really, really tough to come back from that. So we have a lot of chemicals going into the body, which also has a big impact on the frequency as well. So we need to make sure that the toxins are out so that we can have more energy. So this is, when I talk about frequency, this is every organ, every tissue, every cell has a different frequency. And when they are vibrating at the optimum, they're healthy. When we have different emotions, they also have an impact on us. So what here, I don't know if you can see the slide really well, but here is the top emotions that you absolutely, and this is joy, this is love, this is gratitude, this is appreciation. When we live in that state, we increase the health of our physical body because we're increasing the health of our emotional body. When we live in grief or guilt or depression, we live at a very low vibration. So I want you guys to really get this as well. If you now finished this challenge, this 5-week challenge, you finished your 90-day challenge, and you happen to go on with your life, and all of a sudden you pick up one of those dead foods, one of those non-functional foods, and you're putting them in your system, the worst thing you can do is feel guilty about it. I have found that when you feel guilty, it causes more acidity in the body than the actual food does itself. So you've got to say, I've chosen this. And my very next meal, I'm having Alka-Jaza, I'm going back to spring, I'm flushing it with loads of water, I'm getting it out my body. But please, whatever you do, do not feel guilty, because that is actually worse for your body. So we need to make sure that that frequency is increased. We also have frequency with our brain waves. So I just adore WildFit, because within the first 2 weeks of our challenge, we deal with what we're thinking about. And then the minute you guys have hit spring, you're clearing the brain fog away, which allows the frequency, it allows the energy of the cells to function better. And in that way, you're actually thinking clearer, you're more creative, and you're more innovative. And so this brain frequency is super, super important for your health. Absolutely super important for your health. So what are some of the ways that you can absolutely make sure that you're on a total healthy pathway? First of all is the emotional health. So as I said, don't feel guilty, but have a lot of fun and play and laugh and really enjoy your life. We need to look after the physical body massively. So absolutely no toxins going in, because the toxins are going to feed the pathogens. So no toxins going in. We need to move the body, even if it's walking, because we need to give the lymphatic system a chance to be able to pump the toxins out. So in order to look after our physical, we need to eat correctly and we need to move that body. And then intellectually, we need to live in the faith and not the fear. Unfortunately, in today's world, there is just so many of us living in fear because of everything that's happened, and we're not living in the faith. We're really not living in the faith. We're living in the fear. And so when you live in the faith, once again, you live in a higher vibration that can help the body altogether. So I just want to give you some examples now, some of the clients that I've seen that have had underlying pathogens in their body, and what their symptoms are and how their journey has been through WildFit. So Glory Jane, how much time do I have? I just want to check, because
I still got 40 minutes.
Oh, cool. Okay. So because I'd love some questions as well. So I'm all good to answer lots of questions, but I want to go into some clients that have been through the journey, the WildFit journey, and what has actually happened in their system. So I had a client yesterday. She's been through WildFit, so she finished a 90-day journey. I just also want to find out, but any show of hands or any comments, do any of you do a water fast in week 11 or 12? Do you do the water fast? I hope you do. Oh, yay. Okay, awesome. Thank you, guys. The water fast is one way that starves the pathogens. Absolutely starves the pathogens. So my client yesterday, when she was going through WildFit, she got to week 11 and I spoke about fasting, and she had never, ever fasted in her life before. And she said, well, you know what? I've got Hashimoto's thyroidism and I suffer from chronic fatigue. And all the way through spring, she never got her energy back. You know, when Eric talks about flipping the switch over, she never flipped her switch. And so she said, am I doing something wrong? Is there something that I'm not doing? She says, I'm eating spring. I'm eating deep spring. I'm in deep spring. And I'm doing everything as I've been suggested, and I'm really following it. Is there something else? I can do? So I said to her, let's see what's going on in your body. And also, I suggest you do the 3-day water fast. So she did the 3-day water fast. She got to day 3 and she said, I'm actually okay. I'm actually doing okay. I'm going to try another day. She got to day 4. She went, day 4 felt so much better than day 1, 2, and 3 put together. I'm going to carry on. She got to day 5 and she went, now this is somebody who's never done a fast in her life before, never. Day 5, she started getting her energy. For the first time in 20 years, she started getting her energy back. So she goes, I haven't felt like this in so long. I'm going to carry on. So she said, I'm going to do day 6. I'm going to do day 7. And 7.5 days, she did her water fast. And from day 5, 6, and 7, she started getting more energy back. So what was actually happening in her system? She'd been through deep spring. She'd obviously had lots of time to cleanse out the system in spring. Then she was starving the virus, because under Hashimoto's thyroidism and chronic fatigue is the Epstein-Barr virus. The Epstein-Barr virus absolutely loves refined sugar, loves dairy, and actually really enjoys some grains too. So the minute that that's not in your system, you've got a fighting chance. You've absolutely got a fighting chance. Epstein-Barr virus really does well. It actually, to get rid of it, is actually blueberries. So summer is not a bad time to live in, between spring and summer, if you've got Epstein-Barr virus. So she did 7.5 days of a water fast. She came through to see me yesterday. Now, she's still got Epstein-Barr virus, because it's a really tough thing. It's a very, very tough thing to get out of your body. Really, really, it starts, most people get it when they're teenagers from glandular fever, or mononucleosis is another thing that has been diagnosed. But underlying all of that is actually the Epstein-Barr virus. So, it's been dormant in your body probably for a long, long time, a really long time in your system. And then you normally have an event or something that happens that triggers it. And this is what happens with all pathogens, by the way. All pathogens want to hide. They do not want to be found. We are, if you can think of our body as we are the home to pathogens. There's nobody on this earth that does not have pathogens. We all have them. We all have them. You cannot get away from it. It's part of our ecosystem. So we have the good bacteria and we have the bad bacteria. And there needs to be a balance in order for our gut to work correctly. So we're never going to get away from it. We've got it in our bodies. However, when we start accumulating too much bad bacteria, when we ingest some parasites which carry the bacteria around, once we've got leaky gut syndrome, when we get viruses and our immune system is not strong enough to fight them off, and all of a sudden we're accumulating more and more pathogens, that's when the trouble happens. So they stay dormant. We either feed them the wrong food to activate them, or I actually had another client the other day, 9 years, she's 23 years old, and for the last 9 years, she has been suffering with every month on the dot, when it hits near her menstrual cycle, she has such excruciating pain that she cannot work, and she has not been able to hold down a job. And so when she went to the doctor said to her, "There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you." So she came to see me, and I had a look at her system, and I had seen she's got 2 viruses in her body. One is the CMV, and the other one is the Epstein-Barr virus. Now, the one that is showing up more is actually the CMV virus. It's also a very common virus. However, it's causing her to have excruciating pain every month, like so that she's bedridden for a couple of days. She cannot even move out of bed. Now, when I dug a little bit deeper, and she came with her mom, because her mom's obviously been concerned about her from 14 years old. She's had these symptoms, and nobody can find the results of, like, nobody can give her any solution. So I then went back, and I said, what happened at 14 years old? What happened? And she thought about it. She says, 14 years old, I went on a trip to South America because her father's from Peru. So they went to go and visit. But all was good. She said, I didn't even get sick there. So I didn't eat anything that caused anything. She said, all was good. And then all of a sudden she remembered. She said, when I was back in New Zealand after my trip, I had a car accident and I was hospitalized. I was fine, but I was hospitalized. And I said, that was the trigger. That was the trigger. That caused so much stress on your body that all the viruses came alive. They came alive because they love adrenaline. They live off adrenaline. So with our stressful lives, we activating more and more pathogens in our body. They absolutely come alive. So that was the trigger. There's always a trigger. So we can have these in our body and they lie dormant for a long, long time, but something will trigger it. Often it's food, or it might even be food poisoning. It might be water that we've drunk from a bad water source. It might be a car accident. It might be a death in the family where you've experienced such trauma that the body has gone through such pain that all of a sudden it triggers something. So when we tracked it back, we go, right, it's the stress. It's made it come alive. But why was it in her body in the first place? How come it was there from the beginning? And then I scanned her mother. I did a bioresonance scan of her mother. And her mother had glandular fever. Her mother was diagnosed with CMV and Epstein-Barr. And her mother passed it on to her in the womb. So as a baby, the baby is strong. A baby's immune system is incredible, by the way. I mean, we get everything that we need when we're born. We absolutely get everything that we need. So she was a strong baby. She was handling it in her body. It was absolutely fine for 14 years. And then there was a trigger. And then it ignited. And since then, she's had the pain. So for her, she needs to get on incredibly clean eating. So she's just enrolled in WildFit. So she's actually only going to start in December. And she really needs to make sure that she clears the viruses out of her system. She needs to calm down from the stress because that keeps on activating it. And she needs to be able to move the body so the lymphatic system moves all the toxins out. Because when the virus and the bacteria and the parasites start dying off, they've got to come out the body. They've got to come out the body. And so you've got to get them out the body by movement or by loads of water. So anybody that I am looking at with pathogens, 4 liters of water, not your 2 liters of water, 4 liters of water, just to, not forever, just to give your body an extra flush. Now, if you have done a 3-day water fast and it went well, and it was like, I got this, it all went well. So if you've done a 3-day water fast, what I highly suggest is that you do a 3-day water fast every month over full moon. Every month over full moon, your 3-day water fast. So the day before, yay, Glory Jane, you did that last week. I'm so excited. Yay. So the day before, then the full moon, and then the day after. And I'll tell you why. The little parasite eggs and the bacteria eggs and all the eggs that they lay in the body, they hatch on full moon. So it was so funny because I had another client this week and she said to me, she works in an optometrist, and she says they've got a saying that goes around their workplace that all crazy people come in over full moon. She says for some reason full moon comes around and people go mad and they pick up glasses and they try on glasses, and she says they just act weird, and so they go full moon, like the weird people are coming in now. And I said to her, it's not the people. It's what's the parasites, it's the pathogens in them make them act that way. So it's really because all of a sudden you've got a burst of all these eggs being hatched in your body over full moon, and now you've got more. And then you go and feed them with a chocolate, or you feed them with a cake, and you feed them with a pizza, and you feed them with a hamburger, and you go crazy because there's just too many of them. So if you can remember to do a water fast over full moon, chances are you're going to starve them immediately. So they will not be able to survive in your body. So you starve them and they can't multiply. They absolutely can't multiply. So the best thing is to constantly mark on your calendar for the next year and go for it for the next year, and just keep on flushing out the body over full moon. Just keep on flushing it out. It's really, really healthy for you. For all the other WildFit coaches, I have a living WildFit group. So everybody that goes through WildFit moves into the living WildFit group. So highly suggested. And my living WildFit group goes through a 3-day water fast every month. So it's quite fun because we get to support each other and we get to go, right, this is it, guys. Some people do get a little bit moody. We know that. But it's kind of like, yay, because you're killing off more pathogens then. You're allowing your body to get rid of them. So it's a really good thing. So I have to tell you a story about another client of mine who, 24 years old, she had spent 2 years at the doctor's, and for 2 years, she had complained about a leaky bladder. 24 years old, she never had children. She didn't have anything else that she could think of was wrong with her. She just had a leaky bladder. She didn't know why, and the doctors didn't know why. They did test after test after test on her bladder, and they said to her, your bladder's fine. Your bladder's fine. Then they operated. They opened her up. They enlarged her bladder because they said, well, you know, if you enlarge it, it will hold more. It won't be leaky. It was still leaky. She said, I went through the operation and it was still a leaky bladder. So she went back to the doctors. After 2 years of constantly going to the doctors told her, there's nothing wrong with your bladder. You need to go and see a psychologist. She was horrified because she said, you know, at the end of the day, this is not in my head. I'm not going mad. This is a physical thing that's happening to me. This is physical. I physically, at 24 years old, need to have an nappy. That's how bad it is. She said, so what is happening to me? What is happening? So she found me, and I did a full bioresonance scan on her. And what I discovered, I said to her, listen, the doctors were correct, actually. There's nothing wrong with your bladder. And she was like, what? I had an operation and there was nothing wrong with my bladder? I said to her, there was nothing wrong with your bladder. What is the problem? She had a nest of parasites on her spine, right in the area where the nerves are to the bladder. So the parasites were interfering with the nerve to the bladder. Nothing wrong with the bladder. So we needed to get rid of the parasites in her spine. The minute we did that, she was fine. She was absolutely fine. So they must have been there a long time. And at some stage in her life, she must have had leaky gut syndrome. Because we don't just have parasites going around the body. We don't just have them. We actually, they have to come from somewhere, and they come from our gut, which is why it is super important to have gut health. Super important to have gut health. So when we have that leaky gut syndrome and we've got the holes that become very porous, our gut becomes porous, the parasites get into the bloodstream. And that's when they go all over and they go to your weak spot. So they settle there. And her weak spot was her spine. She actually had an injury, and that's where they went. And that's what caused her bladder issue. So you're always looking for things that are not the symptoms. It's the root cause. What is the root cause? And the minute that we have good gut health, the minute we have brilliant gut health, that's when we are good. That's when we actually get our energy back. That's when we get our vitality back. That's when our immune systems are boosted. That's when we can actually live that life that you really, really, truly, truly want to live. So yes, it's really, really amazing. So, Freddie, you've asked, how is a bioresonance scan done? Is there a machine, or do you train persons for such? Yeah. So there is machines. There's various different machines that I use. I actually use 4 different machines. And so there's bioresonance technology, there's quantum magnetic technology, and there's RAF technology. All 3 of those technologies can assess pathogens in your body and be able to kill them off. So they can actually reach out. Once we've done the scan, we can detect exactly where it is. And so I've got the bioresonance scan, then I've got the quantum one, because what it is, it's measuring the frequencies of your cells. So when your cells are healthy, they are vibrating. You know, when you see a healthy person, full of energy. When you see a person that's unwell and has got so many health issues, their body is so lethargic, very lethargic, and their cells are lethargic. So when they come through the WildFit journey, it's incredible, because that's when we get given an opportunity to detox those cells. And when you go through spring, you are detoxing those cells, those tissues, those organs at stem cell level, because that's what I have seen on the scan. When people go through WildFit, and I scan them before and then I scan them after, and I see that their stem cells, which your stem cells are your new cells that are born every day, your stem cells can turn into lung cells, they can turn into liver cells, they can turn into gut cells, they turn into different cells depending on where the healing is. So I have seen the stem cells strengthened by 90% going through the WildFit journey. So by doing WildFit, you guys are in the best place ever. You are absolutely in the best place ever, because that is going to strengthen the cells so they can do more healing, so that you can get to your results. So another thing is that when you do the water fast and you absolutely starving off the pathogens, you are strengthening the healing that your body can go under. Now, when you're doing the water fast, in hour 10 of a water fast, hour 10, you go through a process called autophagy. Our body has always done autophagy, always. Autophagy is getting rid of old dead cells. So as we get the new stem cells growing every day, we get old cells dying off every day. So we've got the dying off cells and we've got the new cells that are growing every day. So when we're doing the water fast, we actually, the autophagy accelerates in your body. So you actually get rid of more dead cells quicker than if you're eating food. So this is the healing that your body goes through when you're doing fasting. So you get to autophagy, it accelerates your body getting rid of old dead cells, and it strengthens your stomach cells, your gut cells, your immune cells. That all happens within the first 36 hours of your water fast. So it's absolutely amazing if you can do that every single month. Absolutely amazing. So, Freddie, I do train people to do the scan and to have the equipment. So it's one of the things that I was asked by my clients, can I do this? Because of the healing process, because of the journey that they went through before WildFit scanned, after WildFit. And so, yes, we've now started training people all around the world on exactly how to do this, because it's really incredible when you can help other people. When you can help other people, it's awesome. So Glory Jane said, how did you remove the parasites in the spine? Awesome question. What we need to do then is clean eating so that we're not feeding them. So that's the first thing you've got to do. Second thing, obviously, increase your water so that as they die off, we actually can get them out the body. And then the third thing is a remedy, a natural herbal remedy that actually targets parasites and kills them off. So we do have to go that extra step and recommend some remedies to be able to help when it's that bad. When they've already been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, Hashimoto's, asthmas, eczemas, psoriasis, arthritis, all of those are actually underlying pathogens in the body. So when you look at inflammation in the body, your arthritis and things like that, inflammation is there because there's too much acidity in the body. Now, I've had many people as well go through the WildFit journey, and they start off and their bodies are acidic. They go through the journey and they finish having the Alka-Jaza for all those weeks, and their body is still acidic. Their body is still acidic. And they're going, how can I still be acidic? I've had Alka-Jaza every day for 2.5 months. How does my body still be acidic? So the body is acidic because of the underlying pathogens in your system. So you've got to remove this. If you've got heavy metals in your body's going to be acidic. Parasites, viruses, and bacteria are very acidic in your body. When there's an accumulation of acidity, it causes inflammation. When there's inflammation in the body, there's pain. So a lot of people are feeling the pain. They'll feel the joint pain of arthritis. What we need to do, we need to get rid of the inflammation. We need to get rid of the pathogens, and then the acidity goes away and they've got no more pain. I'm quite sure a number of you have experienced people going through WildFit and getting rid of arthritis. They go, oh my goodness, I can move my joints. I was blown away because I had a school friend of mine do WildFit with me at the beginning of the year. So she's the same age as me, in her 50s. And she was like, she couldn't move her hands because her arthritis was so bad. And but honestly, I'm not joking, by week 10, she went, look at me. And there was no pain. And I'm going, and that was just WildFit. That was no additional remedies. There was nothing else. But that's the power of cleaning out your body, of absolutely cleaning out your body. Now, when you finish this journey, so when you finished on your week 5, you finished your 90-day journey. When you finish your journey, the more consistent you are in eating WildFit way, the more consistent your healing is. So I have a lot of people that haven't reached their target after the 90 days. They just haven't got there because there's too much that has been accumulated in the body. It's just been too overwhelming, and there has been autoimmune issues, and there has been cancer, and there has been really, really diabetes. A lot of diabetes, you all know, they come off their medication, so it's all good. But there have been things that have, it's not happened in the 3 months. It just hasn't happened in the 3 months. But the more consistent you are with putting the good stuff in, the more consistent you are with healing and killing off the pathogens. And the more you do that, then you get your results. So I have had people in their first 3 months, they are, it's just like, I haven't reached my goal. But I have had my shape change, but my weight hasn't been released. I've heard this over and over again. Why did I not? Other people were losing 10 kilograms. Other people were losing 20 pounds. Why is my weight not shifted? The weight cannot shift if there's still toxins in the fat cells. And those toxins in the fat cells are often pathogens. So the weight cannot shift if you haven't killed off the pathogens. So the more consistent you are, the more opportunity your body has to release the pathogens. So it kills them off to then release the fat cells. And I have seen people over a year, they then release 30 kilograms. And it's like, wow. And I'm talking about people with cancer. They've been able to absolutely overcome all of their issues by sticking with it for a year. I've had another client 2 years ago. She had her first breast cancer operation. In 2 years, she's had 7 operations because there was an infection. And then the implants were damaged. And then she had to have the implants removed. And then there was more lumps. And it was just heartbreaking because just consistently she had so much going on. She's just a month ago, she's had her last operation, her 7th operation, totally removed her breast and totally got rid of everything. She turned to me and she said to me, because she did WildFit with me 3 years ago, she said to me, if it wasn't for my living WildFit journey, I would have never, ever managed. I would have never recovered. In fact, my mindset would have not been strong enough. I would have never been this positive, and I would have never healed as quickly as what I've healed from every single operation. So she's saying, now's the end of my journey as far as the unhealthy part goes. And in that time, she also released 20 kilograms. So she's in incredibly good state of mind. She's in an incredibly good state of body. And she's going, I know this is it. I know that I'm done with the cancer now and it's out. But it had been there for a long time. And so it was not a 3-month journey. It was a 2-year journey. And that's why you coaches need to be there for the clients for a longer period of time. Make sure that you've got something there that can be, that they can come to, and so that you are there for them when the journey is longer. The journey is a little bit longer. Cool. So Freddie, you said the monthly 3-day water fast is great, but in addition to that, would it be okay to do a weekly 2-day water fast, say Monday, Tuesday? Is there too much water fasting if done weekly, in addition to the monthly 3 to 4 day water fast? Freddie, I'm loving your questions, by the way. I'm absolutely loving your questions. So it's incredible because the more you fast, the better it is for the body. I think we all eat too much. We eat far too much. So I've done 3-day water fasts back to back every week for 3 weeks in a row. And I felt amazing. I felt absolutely amazing. A lot of people do much longer water fasts. So I've had a client that's done a 16-day water fast. I've had another client do a 21-day water fast. So, fasting for your body is not a bad thing, but you need to make sure that you are actually putting in enough hydration and enough minerals. So if you're going to do it week by week, back to back, I think it's a brilliant thing. I often do 24-hour water fast every Monday. If I know that I am overindulging over the weekend, or I've been out to a restaurant and I don't know exactly, I always make sure that I'm choosing as good a choice I can. But sometimes you just don't know. Monday comes, I'm flushing it out my body, and I do a water fast to make sure that I've got no toxins feeding, no pathogens in my system. So I would recommend a 24-hour water fast every week is perfect. Absolutely perfect. And then doing one over the full moon would also be absolutely good. Just make sure that you've got lots of, I love the Himalayan rock salt because I see that gets absorbed really, really nicely into the body. So I often put the Himalayan rock salt into the water. Don't put too much. If your water tastes salty, that's too much. If your water tastes a little bit sweet, that's enough. Because it does change the taste of the water, but it shouldn't be salty. You shouldn't be drinking salty water. If it's a little bit smooth and a little bit sweet, you've got enough, and that will give you the minerals that your body is needing to help all the cells in the healing. Because as I said, when I do a water fast, I do 5 liters of water a day on my water fast to make sure I'm fully hydrated for those 3 days. So make sure that you've got enough, but you just don't want to flush too many other minerals out of your body. Otherwise, you're going to be good. You're going to be absolutely good. So yes, I've realized the time, and I know I can speak forever on this, and I've got so many case studies that I could talk to you about. But does anybody else have any other questions? Because I'd love to be able to answer questions before we leave.
Yes, we still have 7 minutes more. So we have more questions for Coach Kerry. She's the expert on pathogens. So we'd really, really, really love to listen more about it.
Has anybody got any symptoms that they feel and they haven't been able to get to the bottom of it? I'm also happy to talk about that if you are. But it's incredible that underlying different things in your body, you might think it's one thing, but it's something totally different. Like the lady with the leaky bladder, it was something totally different. I've also had a young boy who his urine was the color of Coca-Cola, and the doctor was looking at the kidneys, and they kept on doing biopsies on the kidneys, and the kidneys kept on coming back fine, absolutely fine, nothing wrong with the kidneys, absolutely fine. And then when he came to do the scan, it was actually his liver. His liver was covered in parasites, had nothing to do with the kidneys. So often it's not the thing that you're really looking at. Cool. So Claire, you said foods to help flush out other than the alkalizer. Okay. So a big one is your celery, by the way. A big one is your celery. So you've got celery in the alkalizer, but if you can have additional celery pulls out the acidity, it pulls out the heavy metals, and when parasites die in your body, they leave behind the heavy metals. And celery is one thing that pulls that out. Zeolite, if you can get zeolite or bentonite, they also pull, and in fact, they get the heavy metals attracted to them, and then it gets pushed out your system. So it attracts it and pushes it out. So zeolite and bentonite are absolutely amazing. There are quite a few herbal remedies. There is wormwood is fantastic. There is olive leaf. There is Sutherlandia. I have one that's got a mixture of everything in it, and so we just zap it straight away. But what I also wanted to mention, onions and mushrooms, they are brilliant for feeding the good bacteria in your gut. So onions and mushrooms are available the whole of springtime. So I highly recommend increasing your onions, mushrooms, and celery in order for you to absolutely make sure that you're feeding the right bacteria and you're flushing out the wrong bacteria and the parasites out of your body. So that would be really, really cool. Cool. So what are samples of the herbal remedies for arthritis and psoriasis? So psoriasis is that is about healing the gut. Same with arthritis. We've got to get that lining of the gut healed. So that's the most important thing, really, really the most important thing. So we cannot be putting in any refined sugars or any, I would even, that's why spring is so amazing, because I would avoid the natural sugars as well, because if you've got any candida or fungus in your body, it feeds on the natural sugars, and that also interferes with the gut lining. So really spring foods are phenomenal for healing the lining of your gut, and we don't want it to accumulate too much. And then I've got loads of remedies. I wasn't going to talk about any remedies, but I suppose that does come up. But if you want, I can put a list together of different remedies. But for me, remedies are like supplements. Supplements should be taken for a very short amount of time. We should never take supplements ongoing. We should never take medication ongoing or supplements ongoing. They're called supplements for a reason. They're there for 1 to 3 months to supplement your body, to enhance your body to function properly. Then you should be able to have your body back in balance. When your body's in balance, it heals itself and it functions properly on its own. So remedies are the same. Remedies we should have there for a short period of time, and then your body should be strong enough, your immune system should be strong enough to fight them off yourself. You want to be able to fight them off. You want your body to be strong. And that is all determined by what you're putting inside. So the more good stuff you're putting in, you know that you're on the right track. You know you're on the right track. Cool. So where to buy those herbal remedies from? I'm quite sure you probably find them. Homeopaths have got a lot of wormwood, olive leaf, all of those things. Homeopaths have them. It would be a really good idea if you just go to a health shop and find out what they've got. All countries, if you go to a real natural health shop, they will have remedies in there for parasites, bacteria, heavy metals. So you should be able to find those. If you know what you've got, you can get it in there, and don't take it for long periods of time. As I said, it's just a supplement. It's there to flush your system. If you have anybody that experiences diarrhea in springtime, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Because if you think about, I've had food poisoning a few times in my life. And the minute I have food poisoning, your body is trying to get rid of it both ends. It's just like your body wants it out. The same thing happens when you are killing off the pathogens. The body wants it out. And so sometimes we experience diarrhea. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. If it's only for a few days, and if you keep yourself well hydrated, it's the one signal that the body is getting rid of dead pathogens in your body. So don't worry about diarrhea. Celebrate it. Celebrate it if it's only for a few days. That would be really, really cool. Cool. And okay. Yes, zeolite, correct. Zeolite and bentonite, you've got it correct. Glory Jane, that's perfect. Cool. Freddie says, are you familiar with muscle testing? Absolutely. I love muscle testing. Heals people by eating properly, but his diagnosis versus muscle testing, similar principles under WildFit, and he eats 80 to 90% raw. You know, when I was told that I couldn't have children, when I went through my diagnosis of not being able to conceive children naturally, I went onto a raw diet. I must be honest, I was on a raw diet in order to do my healing. And so I really, really do, I do recommend, if there's something deep going on, if there's really some deep healing that goes on, if there's just your health that you want to sustain, then I'm happy with all cooked food and all of that. Then it's all good. Cool. And then, can you send remedies and the best way to heal Hashimoto's? Yeah, Hashimoto's is a difficult one. It takes time, so be patient, because that is definitely Epstein-Barr virus, 100%. I've seen too many cases. I've seen hundreds and hundreds of cases of Hashimoto thyroidism, and it's every single one is Epstein-Barr virus. So you definitely need Sutherlandia. If you can get hold of Sutherlandia, if not, then Glory Jane's got my details. But Sutherlandia is one of the things that is really, really fantastic for helping with Epstein-Barr virus. It's really, really, it's incredible, an absolutely incredible herb. Cool. Well, thank you, everybody. I know that we've gone over time. I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys enjoyed, and maybe this was like also different to what you've heard from other coaches as well. So I hope this helped you guys. And I'm around if anybody needs any more info.
Yes, thank you very much, Coach Kerry. With all this information, very much happy to learn all this, especially the parasites, hatching all the eggs in full moon. So for the WildFit graduates, please expect every full moon, we're going to the 3-day fast. So let's have a brilliant, photo session with everyone. This is our last session with our 9 coaches. So show your beautiful and handsome faces. Okay. Absolutely brilliant questions as well. Very, very much interesting, especially in this pandemic times, right? So we really have to know about these pathogens. Okay. Kizzy here. Kizzy, show your beautiful face. Okay, guys. And then the count of 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, wait up. Wait a minute. Let me just cap it over here. And another one using my phone. Okay. And in 3, 2, and 1, smile. Thank you very much, Coach Kerry. It has been a very, very productive session. Thank you very much for helping us in our fundraising for the kids of SOS Children's Villages. We wouldn't be able to raise 3,000 USD without your help. So thank you very much, everyone. And for the WorldFit graduates, see you later, 7:30 p.m. for our last session of 5-week reset program. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, coaches.
Bye.